California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Henry Lowe. He is a member of the school board at Garvey School District, which is a K-8 district in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yes.
And I want to speak with you. We're into our school year. Common Core is kind of in full throttle.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's interesting. There's some rumblings about Common Core. We know that some of our friends to the right of center have been complaining about Common Core, and anecdotally I see some talk about it on Facebook. And what are you hearing about Common Core, both as a school board member, just as a person in your community?
Sure. Well, I think as a school board member, I can tell you that our school district, our community, fully embraces Common Core, and at the district, we've taken great pains to make sure that parents are fully informed about what Common Core means. In fact, this month we started a series of parent institutes that are designed to help parents understand what the programmatic changes Common Core poses to instruction and how it fits into the learning by students.
Have you received any pushback?
Nope, we have not.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's unique to your community, if it's unique to the Los Angeles area, because in some communities it's caused, quite an uproar. It does seem like it's in redder communities, whatever that may mean, but
I think if I were to give an opinion, I think the reason why there's such pushback by certain segments against Common Core is because traditionally in the United States, we look at our federal government as one where you have that clear separation between feds and the local level. And education is probably the most democratic, the most decentralized example of governance. And I think that those who oppose it or push back is because they feel it's the national government getting involved. But I mean, setting aside the politics, I think Common Core is just a great way of instruction.
Why?
Because it's not teaching to the test. It's a new way of teaching to our students. It's a new way of testing, and basically we're going to require students to be able to not just learn the concepts, but to apply them in the real world. It's not just A, B, and C anymore.
I wonder if you know yet. I mean, we're just starting the Common Core journey. I have to presume that students that are, K1, 2, 3, they're fine. The adjustment's not a big deal. 10, 11, 12, it's over. God bless them, and they'll be fine. What about the kids kind of in the middle? How are they adjusting to the Common Core shift?
And I think that's where a lot of our attention at Garvey has been, because in addition to the district-wide parent institutes that we've initiated, we're also allowing parents to see firsthand how Common Core will be applied to the middle school. In fact, we'll be doing this starting next year, where parents will be allowed to see Common Core in action. And that's very important because middle school, as the name implies, it's that bridge between high school and elementary school. And I think that is probably the key juncture that you got to make sure that the parents, the students, make that transition.
And how are the teachers doing? Because it really is a new way of instruction.
Absolutely.
It's the deeper,
Absolutely.
It's fewer subjects but deeper as opposed to more subjects and not as deep.
I think that's where at our district, we really have to put the emphasis on working with our teachers to make sure that they feel comfortable with the new methods of instruction and that we give them the full support. I know I've been on the show before, and you're aware of some of the turmoil we've had.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think part of what's been a pushback by our teachers was they felt that they weren't getting the preparation they needed. And
how's it going now with your new superintendent?
Very well.
And she'll be joining us on our show soon.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to being with her for the December edition of that show. But no, it's been Anita Chu, our superintendent's first month, and she has been hitting the ground running, meeting with teachers, meeting with stakeholders, making school site visits, and making sure that teachers are comfortable with Common Core and that they are given the resources they need.
Let's talk about school sites.
Yes.
It's fascinating. In some communities, it feels like there's a baby boom.
Yes.
And school districts are needing to build more campuses.
Yeah.
In other districts, school districts are looking to shutter campuses. And Garvey actually is one of those districts. You are seeing declining enrollment.
Yes, since I've been elected to the board. I've been on the board since 2003, we've been witnessing declining enrollment. And it's not unique to Garvey because I've read a statistic that 40% of urban school districts have been experiencing declining enrollment. I can speak to what I believe are reasons at Garvey.
Well, tell me, because I do think it is a metaphor, an anecdote, I should say.
Well, home prices are just skyrocketing, and that's really difficult for new families to come in.
Right, San Gabriel Valley is starting to become like the next new thing.
Yes, and what's interesting is that when I go as a candidate knocking on doors, I knock on doors so many empty nesters who almost chuckle when I tell them I'm running for school board or running for re-election because their comment is, "Oh, nice to see you. My kids graduated 3 decades ago."
But they still get to vote.
They still get to vote, but I think it's very telling when you see that firsthand the graying of the community. And this will come upon us at Garvey, and we've been doing this. We have to double up our efforts to market our strong point of the district.
Garvey is also known for its rich ethnic diversity.
Yes.
And a lot of that diversity comes from the Pacific Rim, specifically China.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, is part of the issue with lack of involvement because there's this fear of government that they don't even want to answer the door to talk to you?
Well, that's why at the school district, we have taken great pains to make sure that we involve our parents. And so we have what we are called English language advisory groups. They're like PTAs, but for bilingual segments. And we have them for different languages. When we have community meeting like PTA or Head Start, especially Head Start, we make sure that there is bilingual translation. We make sure that language is never an issue. Yes.
And speaking of language, we know that kind of the next new big thing is this notion of language immersion programs. Charter schools are jumping on the bandwagon. We know there are private schools that offer instruction in maybe Mandarin or Spanish or French, whatever it may be. Is that a challenge that Garvey is facing?
I think it's a challenge for all school districts because of the upfront cost to implementing an immersion program. Look, I can tell you, probably every school district or school district official you speak to would love to have a language immersion program, but it is an expensive endeavor.
Is it the upfront costs that are expensive, or is it continuing expenses?
Probably a little bit of both. It's the upfront cost of having the teaching personnel that are certificated to give the instruction, and also ongoing costs. But it's not something that we can just ignore because
the market wants it.
The market wants it. Parents, the economy, everyone recognizes that we live in a globalized world. And it is important that our students are competitive, and that competitive includes being able to speak multiple languages.
And I think specifically about Mandarin because your community does have a large number of Asian speakers, although I'm sure, or Asian, people of Asian descent, although learning that language would be wonderful for anyone. But I recently wrote an article actually about language instruction, and what I learned is that if there is ever a language to try to start instruction early, it's Mandarin, because it is so different from English, Spanish, French. I mean, so if you can get that child at the age of 5, it's much better than if you can get them at the age of 11 when they start junior high at one of the Garvey schools.
No, and you're right. Early instruction is key, in probably in any language, but much so languages that are tonal and have a different sort of characters like Mandarin or Chinese. And so, yes, you're right. Early instruction is key. But I think in any situation, being able to speak and understand another language is so important, not just because it's a good skill to have, but also for intellectual development.
Is there a way to take a baby step? Have an hour a week, if K-5?
Well, I think for right now, like our school district, like many school districts, we offer it as an elective. But
that's middle school, though, no?
Well, it's middle school, but not elementary school, and so I think that's where we have to probably be creative. Outside the box, work with our key stakeholders, and see how we can offer in a way that is substantive, meaningful.
Or Spanish too. I mean, you have a decent size.
Half the students.
So there's no question. And again, language acquisitions are relevant. Your ethnicities are relevant. I mean, any language acquisitions of benefit.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so I'm excited that you'll be bringing your new superintendent on our program next month. His name is Henry Lowe. He is a member of the school board at the Garvey School District, a K-8 district in the San Gabriel Valley. My name is Brad Pomerance, and this is California Edition.